It's about that time of day again here, folks. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Joseph James here at SchoolOfTrade.com. SidewaysMarkets.com is our blog address. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter for Monday evening, September 29th. 2014. It is almost the end of the month of September. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Boy, a beautiful weekend here in Los Angeles. You only get a couple of these weekends every year. You know, late spring, early fall. What an amazing time of year. Hope you guys are having fun out there, getting the kids back to school and celebrating the stuff we do in the fall here around the United States. Awesome weekend. But back to the work this morning. Had some pretty sloppy price action today. Very obvious traders were waiting on something today. I think we're going to take a look and find out what that something might have been. First things first, though, before we jump into our newsletter, and we have a jam-packed newsletter in store for you guys and gals today, I need you guys to go over there to SidewaysMarkets.com if you're not watching this video on our blog right now. If you're watching the video right now on our YouTube page, make sure you click the link below the video in our YouTube page and head on over here to SidewaysMarkets.com. There are 3 specific reasons why I would suggest coming over here to Sideways Markets. First reason, you can download all of my charts right below today's video. I've also given you a bunch today of bonus charts because we got a lot of extra levels we got to watch for because we got some sideways ranges coming. So make sure you download a copy of those charts. The second thing here today, upper left-hand corner, I would love to send you a free pass to come out and join my live trade room any afternoon this week or any time that's convenient for you. Just give me your name and your email address. Click that link right in the upper left-hand corner, and that will take you into an opt-in form to attend our live trade room. Third thing, boy, second thing, it's only Monday, Joe. You better get the counting down here. Lower left-hand corner. My newsletter goes out every evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I would love to send you an email to let you know exactly when that newsletter is published. No more stalking my blog. No more reloading the YouTube page. Give me your name and your email address, and I'll shoot you over a copy of my newsletter every evening before 8 p.m. when it's published. So get on over here to SidewaysMarkets.com, download the charts for today, have those ready with you tomorrow in my trade room. We're going to use those as our roadmap. Upper left-hand corner, grab your free pass. Lower left-hand corner, register for the nightly newsletter mailing list. If you register for the mailing list or if you grab your free pass, please be aware I'm going to send you a verification email to make sure that you are not a robot. All right, so make sure you guys check your spam, check your junk, right? Check your inbox once you guys register. That way you've got the verification email there, and then we'll be off to the races, sending those to you every evening. Alrighty, ready to rock and roll? Helmets on, seatbelts fastened, hands on the wheel. All right, I think we're ready to rock and roll here. First of all, what happened today? Monday, right? Monday after a very slow Friday last week. Monday morning, we always expect a little bit of sluggish price action. But boy, today was a day where it definitely felt like those markets were waiting on something. Later on this week, we've got some major news on the schedule. We've got ECB on Thursday. We've got Friday's non-farm payrolls. Just taking a brief look at the news media, the news reports this afternoon. It looks like everyone's blaming it on Hong Kong. There's always going to be something to blame something on, right? So we're not going to worry too much about it. But, you know, we still got pokers in the fire in Ukraine. We still have Syria and ISIS. Right, I watched that interview with Obama last night. I was actually pleasantly surprised at how well he handled some of those difficult questions they were asking last night on 60 Minutes. If you didn't get a chance to watch a special last night in the U.S., I'm sure they got a copy of it on YouTube. Obama had the first part of the hour-long show, and then they had a special on, what's his name, Jack Ma from Alibaba. What a cool guy that was. But bottom line, though, is that foreign policy statements he was making last night, I thought was a pretty good job. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I thought he sounded like he had everything pretty much under control. So, boy, through the eyes of Obama and through the eyes of the politicians in the U.S., it doesn't sound like things are too much out of control, and I would agree. Looking at the charts here this afternoon, we can see right away here on the Russell, I've got myself going lower. I'm in a clear downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, and again, this is on the mini Russell, symbol TF we'll start with here this evening. I've got my Russell with a red cloud. I've got my trend that is down. right? My downtrend here on the Russell, that's nice and easy to see. I've got my red clouds, lower lows, lower highs. I'm clearly in my downtrend. My next step is, once I know my trend, I need to now look for my setups. On the 64 anchor, I have setups at 27, I've got setups at 30.6, and I've got setups at 48.3. So what's my trend? Trend is down. Where's my setup? Well, I've got a symmetry setup here at 27. I've got trigger zone set up at 30.6. I've got a reversal line set up at 34.3 and another trigger zone set up at 48.3. As you can see here, we are all the way down at that big round number of 1100. That may be a sticking point here for us this week, so be aware of that. Also, take a look at where we are here. Where are we in relationship to this channel? All the way at the lows. It's going to be very difficult to sell short from here. I would much rather wait to get off these lows and then get this baby selling off right up around the 1127 area. So that would be the ideal. And if you're a long-term trader on the Russell, right, you'll be incentivized to stay patient and get short up around the 1127. Now, what we're going to see in the next chart, very important. This has become a range. Right? So we have this sideways range now that's developed in the Russell. This was pretty easy to see. We traded it this morning in the trade room. We couldn't get the sellers to get back in, and they went all the way back to the high, and then we realized, okay, this is definitely going to be a sideways range. This is a classic situation that happens at the low of a bear channel or the high of a bull channel. The sellers aren't quite ready to give up. Right, and the buyers keep stubbornly trying to buy these lows, right, or people are taking profit, whatever the case may be. Where I'm getting at with this is don't be surprised if we have some trouble here with this sideways range for a while before jumping up and then collapsing. So we're going to have, in my opinion, we're going to have to get a little bit higher here before we really get the easy money, right, to the sell side here. Let me keep going, though, but this is a good chart that kind of lays the whole thing out there. We got a clear downtrend, but we're definitely oversold. I need to get off these lows, shake out some of these buyers, and then give me a chance to get this thing selling back off again as we go back lower. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at right now in the Russell. Let's go a little bit closer now, and let's see on this Russell, what exactly do we need here to start looking for the short? As you can see now, my 32, there is quite a bit of stuff here. Now you'll notice I've still got downtrend, lower lows, lower highs. It's easy to see we're still trending lower. I'm going to keep looking to sell short. Once I've got that short trend, now I find short selling setups. I've got trigger zone setup, 12.12. This is the same setup that I entered short late in the morning this morning. Still in that trade right now, trying to get down to that 1100. Okay, if that fails though, we'll go up and look for another. I've got my 19.3, right? So you can see we got plenty of sell zones here, 12.2, 19.3. I have a trend line set up just overhead. And as you can see here, that is going to run me out of time here. So hold on real quick. Let's finish the Russell up before we move forward here to the gold. But as you can see, though, I've got my lower lows, lower highs. I want to start selling. Trigger zone setup, 12.2. Trigger zone setup, 19.3. Trend line setup or channel setup up at the high there. We'll say 1120 at the high of that channel. We have the double top setup. We have the trigger zone setup, 24.7. Trigger zone setup, 30.6. Now that 30.6, that's the same level, obviously, off that 64. So that will put us all the way back up, right? So we got a couple different options here. But we know, though, that this is where I would expect it. If it doesn't go lower, I would expect it to react off that 30.6. So patience will definitely be a good virtue here for us if we're trading the Russell here going into tomorrow. Again, I've got plenty of sell areas right now. I can look for the short right now here on the Russell. We found it earlier today, as you can see. But again, I wouldn't be surprised here if we go up and then look for that short right coming in thereafter. So be ready for price to go higher here before it goes lower. And then last but not least here on the Russell, our 16 anchor chart here, you can see here is that range we're talking about, right? Here's that range. Now we have the range from top to bottom, range low, range high, And so we are highly incentivized right now to sell the highs of that range. We got short off the highs earlier today, but when it didn't get down to that low, right? When it didn't get down to that target, that was a big, big clue for us that this just probably is not ready to tumble yet. Whether it be because they're waiting on something, whether it be because it's not the right timing, I really don't care why. But I do know that we had the double top here. We had the sell at the high of that range earlier. It wasn't able to collapse like we were looking forward it to do. And it, of course, sits here now sideways. So as we go higher, I'm continuing to look for selling opportunities at 14.4, reversal line 17.5, trigger zone 19.3. You'll notice I've drawn some trend lines here off these lows, drew it up overhead, and you can see that's created a channel here, right, overhead. So really, as we go higher, I'm looking to be a seller at these areas overhead, and I'm just waiting for the one of them here to be the nice big drop for us right now on the Russell. So let's keep our eyes peeled on that Russell. Moving on now. So again, the word of the day here on the Russell is oversold. We know that we're looking for a price most likely to go higher here before we get that nice big selling opportunity here. And don't forget, I'll be trading this live in real time tomorrow morning in our trade rooms. Come out and see me. Moving on to the gold here now. Got to pick up the pace here, a little behind time. As you can see here on gold, my 64 anchor, I've got lower lows, I've got lower highs. There's no question at all about my directional trend. Trend is easily bearish right now. I've got my trend. Where's my setups going to be? I have setups here, 38.9 is my reversal line setup, 52.1. I've got a trigger zone setup. You'll notice a little bit of a trend line here, about 1260, 1265. I've got trigger zone setup, 77.8, and the top of that channel, give or take a couple ticks there, we'll say around 1300. One thing very easy to see here on the gold, just like the Russell, we're clearly oversold, and it looks like we've taken a little bit of a snooze here today. So again, I would stay patient here, looking for price to rise before it goes higher. As we move forward here on the gold, we take a look at our 32. This was a great trade that we called last Thursday on the newsletter here on the gold. That was an easy one from last week. Hope you guys took my advice on that. As you can see, if you missed that short off the high, which I gave you last Thursday, we came off pushing lower on Friday and started going sideways. We pretty much stayed right here the entire session today. So right now, if you're already short on gold, wonderful. Hold on to that, baby. You got targets here at 1212. You get targets here at 1204, 1200, of course, the big round number, and 1194. Remember, 1200 is the break-even point for the mining industry. There is going to be some significant buyers defending that level. So as much as I would love to say we go to 1194, I don't see us going much further below 1200 here, at least not unless there's some major selling pressure here. Because again, we talk about $75 a barrel on crude oil being the break-even point for OPEC. Well, for the mining industry, $1,200 an ounce is the break-even point for the production costs to actually make a profit. If we go below $1,200 on gold, all of a sudden a lot of mining companies go out of business and they can't operate without taking a loss. So once again, gold, as you can see here, remember last week we gave you guys the sell off the high last week. If you took my advice on that, you've already got the gold going short right now. Be careful right now though. Be careful right now. You've missed that short here right now, and you've got to either wait to sell it again at the high, or we need a lower low here, and then that'll open up some new sell zones for me here, and I can start looking for shorts again. All right, so we kind of missed the boat there on the gold. If you missed it from last week, give you some reasons to follow this newsletter. Now, moving on here to my 16 anchor here on the gold. Wrapping things up here on the gold today with a 16 anchor. Again, you can see here, there's the top of that channel that we found. Right, got that short-term channel high there. We gave you guys that short last week, right, up at that 1230, 1233. That was last Thursday's newsletter. Again, took us off to the downside, right? Back up into a sell zone. That creates a new channel. So really the only option right now, if you didn't get short earlier this month on the gold, or late last week, I should say, would be new lower low and then sell the high, right, of this channel. So right now, very difficult for me to give you additional selling opportunities right now if you missed the level we had given to you last week on gold. And because it was so darn slow today on gold, I would definitely be careful on gold. If you want to get short right now, you can do it at your own risk, but you'd be much better off waiting for a lower low, then wait for the retest of that trend line or a reversal line or a trigger zone or whatever the setup is. And of course, don't forget, you guys can come in and join me here tomorrow in our live trade room, and I'll walk you right through what I'm seeing in real time. As you can see, we got targets below you, 1209.6, 1204.2. Of course, the big round number of 1200. That is definitely going to be an important price level there. I just don't think we're going to get that push below it here. If it does go below it, it will not be very long. All right, so looking for shorts here on gold, but again, in my opinion, we've already missed the bus here for the easy money. So sell those retracements, but wait for those new lower lows. Wait for those new lower lows here for the best trades here on gold right now. Moving on here from the gold over to the crude. Wrapping up our newsletter with our black gold, the Texas T, one of my favorite markets to trade. Crude oil starting out with our 64 anchor. Here is a great example of a sideways range. And even though we have recently a higher high, recently some higher lows, we got green clouds, we're above all the key moving averages. This is one of those times when you need to look at this and say, I don't care what color the cloud is, I don't care what the price action in the most recent time has. All I see is this range pretty much right there, right? That's our range right there. Now, let me remind you real quickly about the life cycle of a trend. We come down, we consolidate, we mark up the range highs, the range lows, and of course, I didn't make this up. This is all Wyckoff theory. We, of course, want to see a new higher high, then pull back. That's right here. This is when I start calling us bullish. After we've made a new high, pulled back, and then go. Same thing is true to the downside, right? If we go lower, that's not bearish just yet, okay? That's just simply a breakout. Now I need to see, once it comes back and then continues to go lower, that's when I call it bearish. So now this area right here, you can now see it right here, right? So that's that sideways range that I keep talking about. So most important thing right now is just staying patient here on crude. It's really easy to forget about this range and start buying these highs right now. Remember, I don't want to buy the highs. I want to sell the highs. So my job right now is to sell right now, whether I think we're bullish or not. I try not to think so much, and that's done me very, very well over my almost 14-year career in the markets and almost 11 years of teaching this in our live trade room. So what's my job? Well, I can see here we've got a short-term bullish trend right now, but we are not out of the woods here yet from those sellers. And if you're looking for some sell zones, I think I might have a few of them here for you, as you can see. I've got trigger zone 94.14, 94.75, trigger zone 95.21, 96.05, 96.46. I mean, the list keeps going on and on and on and on. If you want even more, you get a symmetrical extension up here as well. I mean, the list just keeps going on and on about why I'm looking to stay short right now. But again, even if I was going to be a buyer right now, let's just say, for example, just scenario as an example, let's say I want to be a buyer. I still wouldn't be buying right here. Where would I be buying? Buying at a low, buying at a pullback, buying at a discount, right? I wouldn't be buying until I get down here, right? That's the bottom line. So the only option right now is to be a seller, right? I can speculate all I want that I'm bullish and prices are trying to go higher here, but that doesn't mean anything to me. Even if I think we're bullish, I'm not going to buy the highs. So right now, the only option for me, in my opinion, is to sell short. And of course, I'm right inside that sell zone right now. We're looking for shorts as we speak here right now. 92.54 is a good target. 92.03 is a great target. 90.39 is a great target. Don't forget this trend line. That trend line coming right up the gut here, that's going to be a little bit of a hurdle to get over. In fact, that would be the one where I would take majority of my profit off at that trend line. All right, but as you can see here, I've given you 1, 2, 3, 4, and then of course, obviously down at this low, right, from last Monday, or that's actually 2 Fridays ago, that low there at 27s, 23s, right, whatever the case may be. All right, looking for the shorts here on crude right now. But again, we do know short term there are some buyers here right now. So if you are going to be a buyer, you got buying here at 92.53, trend line buy 91.32 and 90.39, target down there at 88 even, as you can see. So looking at crude right now, again, I want to be selling short. You can see the symmetrical extension right overhead. This baby is just begging for us to sell this puppy off. And as you can see here right now, I've got some targets for you below. So I've got plenty of sell zones here right now. 91.14, 94.75, 96.05, 96.28, and 97.94. All right. Time is ticking here, Jay. Let's keep going. If you're a buyer, use those targets as your buy zone. If you're a seller, use those targets the way they should be used, as a target. Last but not least here, all the way to the 16 anchor chart here on crude. This would have you believe nobody should be selling right now, but again, that's why professional traders use multiple time frames. Again, if you're a seller, you already know that you're looking to sell these highs. I don't need to tell you that. You've already got plenty of options there to sell. If you're a buyer, though, right now on crude, 93.86, reversal line, 93.69, trigger zone, 93.15, trigger zone, low of that bull channel. Remember what I said earlier, if you're going to sell short, that's going to be a great spot to take the majority of your profit. It's also going to be the best spot if you're going to buy. That's the best spot to be a buyer here as well. If we happen to push lower, another buying opportunity here at 92.53, 92.02, 92.61, and then I don't think we get here tomorrow, but 91.32 on the way down. What I'm looking for is I'm looking to use these as targets. I want target, I want target, I want target on the way down. All right? If you're a buyer, you've got plenty of levels below you to be a buyer. If you're a seller with me right now, you're ready to start selling here off these highs right now on crude. All righty? We had to wait all day for crude to really start to move today. It was very, very obvious that whatever was going on in this world had people, a little bit sitting on hands here today. All right? I'm not going to worry about what's happening out there. Okay? It's not because I don't know what's going on. I can easily read the news and I can easily see what's going on. I'm not going to bother you with that, though, because it is a non-factor. The news is a non-factor here for us. Always has been, always will be. All I want to know is what is on schedule for tomorrow's news. Let's jump right in. Now, in case you were looking for some fireworks, apparently they saved all the good stuff for last here this month. Holy Christmas. We get a ton of news here coming for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day of the month. Tuesday, September 30th, the last day of the month before we go into the month of October, one of my favorite months of the year. I love the month of October. I just love Halloween. I love dressing up and having some fun with my friends. We got news here tonight, 8:45, 9:35. I got manufacturing out of China. Yeah, just a little bit important, a manufacturing report out of China. Manufacturing out of Asia, 8:45 and 9:35 here tonight. If you're trading in Asia, you better be ready for that here tonight, coming out of China and then Japan a few hours later. We then hop, skip, and jump into the into the London session. And look at all this news we have. Red Star news at 1:30 from India, 2 o'clock from Great Britain. And then we go minor reports here, 2 o'clock from Germany, 2:45 from France, 2:45 from France, 3 o'clock from China, unemployment from Germany. Great Britain is the next Red Star news here at 4:30. Deep breath. Deep breath, going back in, 4:30. 4:30 we got GDP. 5 o'clock we got CPI. Oh, it's still going. 5 o'clock we've got the EU flash manufacturing. We've got the unemployment rate out of the EU at 5 a.m. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous how much news we have tomorrow morning. There should be no problem seeing price action tomorrow morning, and I can't wait to wake up bright and early, see what happened overnight here in the U.S., and then be ready for another big session in the U.S. tomorrow. First of all, we've got news from the CAD here at 8:30. Now remember, the Canadian dollar is highly correlated to what market? Crude, baby, crude. Why? Because of the huge exports out of Canada, right? Big crude oil, gasoline, natural resources are highly exported out of from our good friends from the north. Another country that is big on exports would be Australia for gold, right? So we got big red star news at 8:30. Be ready for crude. 9 o'clock, Case-Shiller home prices. 9:45, Chicago PMI. 10 o'clock, consumer confidence, and then we got the Tankin survey at 7:50. The Tankin survey is one of the most important news reports out of Japan. It happens 4 times a year. It's very similar to the German IFO survey, a business conditions survey in Japan. 9 o'clock manufacturing, and then there we are, another mover here for gold and crude from Australia tomorrow night. So we have quite the plethora of news, as you can see here, starting tonight in Asia, going tomorrow morning, literally 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m., 2:45, 3, 3:55, 4:30, 5, and then we jump down to 8:30 a.m. from the CAD. That'll kickstart the day in the U.S. 9 o'clock, 9:45, 10 a.m. Boy, we should have a field day tomorrow with this news coming out across the globe. We know there's going to continue to be geopolitical issues in the Middle East, in Ukraine. Now we're hearing more, some potential violence in Hong Kong, students doing some protesting there. Gotta love that freedom of speech, right? Right about now in China, they're like, oh, why do we give these people the ability to speak? Why do we start listening to these people, right? You can just imagine Beijing going, oh, we should have never listened to those Americans. Gosh darn it. What's next? We're going to give them YouTube? Right? And then, of course, Jack Ma comes out of nowhere and goes, Alibaba, mofo. Oh, my goodness. I wish I could be a fly on the wall in those meetings in Beijing right now. Not very good for a communist society, right? Not very easy on the communist leaders that be out there. All right, guys. Lots of action in store for us tomorrow. I'm not going to worry about all the geopolitical mess. What will be, but be ready for those news events. And please don't forget, come out and see me here Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to do all this stuff together in real time. I know I have some fun with our newsletter every evening, but tomorrow morning we got some serious business. We're going to load up all these charts, grab all these newsletter levels that we talked about from tonight. We'll analyze the overnight ranges. We've got a ton of news coming out tonight. So our job tomorrow is going to be seeing what's happening now with those overnight ranges, what happened overnight, and we'll be doing all this in real time. Come out and see me tomorrow morning in our live trade room. Don't forget to share this information with a friend over here at Sideways Markets. Join our newsletter. Join the free trial over here at SchoolOfTrade.com. And don't forget, I've got someone standing by here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. English is their first language, and they look forward to helping you guys out. 3 levels of membership, lifetime memberships here at School of Trade. We are the longest running trading education website on the planet. Don't take my word for it. Check it out yourself. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Live trading opens at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Have a great evening, guys and gals. Thanks for listening. Next time, adios, amigos. Bye for now.